What up, what up? This is RJ Fancy Football Talk, and we're back again. Sorry for the delay. We was having a little trouble, but hey, it happens sometimes. We here, you know who it is. I'm Rodney, this JJ. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just trying to still work out some computer issues, but hey, we're here, and it's been a pretty good week. I think we're live now. uh, so yeah, how'd your fantasy week go?
I had an excellent week, man.
Uh
I
huh.
went 5-1 this week. I'm in a hunt. I'm trying to get in these playoffs, man. Coming
Yeah.
down to the wire, man. Season almost about to end, so I'm doing what I can to get in all these playoffs this year, try to get some of this money back I put in there. So definitely, I'm trying, dude. How about yourself?
It wasn't too bad. I ended up with 4 wins, a tie, and 2 losses.
A
So
tie.
I ended up with a tie this week,
That's
so I'm
nice.
hoping maybe. Well, I'm trying to, based off last season, I don't know if I really want stat corrections coming into play because they have not been my best friend. But if I get a stat correction that gives me another win, I'd be happy. But 4 wins is actually more than I expected to have. I had a whole lot of injuries and bye
Yeah.
weeks to deal with this week, so four I take.
Well, that ain't bad. A tie ain't bad either.
Yeah,
Because it really it helps you in the win column, where it helps you in a column period because it's not a loss, so you got the upper
right.
leg on most teams. But I had a nail biter this week. I lost 297, 299.
Oh
I
wow.
was I was up going to bed, and when I woke up in the morning, I was losing. I
Uh
was like, you cannot be serious right now. And I needed to win that league, but it's fine, dude. It's all good. So
huh.
I'm still in the hunt.
Now,
I'm gonna get in there when it counts. So,
hey, you
but
even won our picks about one game, but
I'm coming. I told you. Don't you worry about that. I told you I'm coming. So yeah,
nah.
definitely
So
coming some more this week too. So,
we'll see
but
how
you
it
know,
goes this week.
oh come on, man. You know how it is. But you know how we do, people. We like to start off with the impact players from the last week, and we're gonna
Well,
start off with the
actually,
quarterback.
before you jump into it, we since we started a little bit late, we have a question up, so I want to jump right into that one. Then we'll do our impact players if you don't
Okay,
mind. Trey
okay.
S, thank you for joining us again. It's a big list, but it's all right. We got an hour, so we can do this. For PPR, you have to choose two:
Hmm.
DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Jarvis Landry, Jerry Judy, or Marvin Jones. You need me to repeat those?
Yeah, I need you to
Yeah,
repeat those. I need you to repeat those.
it's DJ Moore, who I'm going to
Okay.
say no because DJ Moore is killing me this year. DeAndre Swift, Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Jarvis Landry, Jerry Judy, or Marvin Jones. You can pick two.
Leonard Fournette,
Yeah.
because I like the way he playing lately, and I
Okay.
like Judy.
Really?
I like Judy. I like Judy.
Okay.
Judy played well last week. Actually, been playing well the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I like Judy. And I like Fournette. Fournette is kind of taking that role from Ronald Jones now in the last two games. So I see them moving in that direction with
Okay.
Leonard Fournette. So definitely, I would say those two for me.
All right. I'm with you on Leonard Fournette. That was the first one on that list that I really liked.
Hmm.
I wanted my heart has been watching has been with DJ Moore since the beginning of the season. Last game where uh, uh, sorry we were stalling for a second, um, but I think it's done buffering. But anyway, what I was saying was from that last.
You boy, DJ
Hey,
Moore.
I'm already So DJ Moore hurts me. DeAndre Swift bothered me. So I like. Here's where it's going to be some tough decisions. The good thing about Jarvis Landry is he should be that guy there, but
Mm-mm.
it's too unpredictable. So that leaves me with Jerry Judy or Marvin Jones as my other picks. If Kenny Galladay is out, no, it's too much because Matthew Stafford. We got to see how he does because he went out that last. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna say Jerry Judy and Leonard Fournette. I'm trying to come up with a reason to say Melvin Gordon, but I don't really. Well, they're
No,
playing against the Raiders. And as you know, the Raiders are not good against the run game, and running backs typically do well. But I would like Landry. I mean, not Landry, Fournette
Judy.
and Jerry Judy to do well because I think you also get that thing against the Raiders where they're not good against the pass either. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think Jerry Judy has the chance to really do something. I actually like Drew Lock. I know that's not in your list, but when, later I actually think Drew Lock's gonna have he had a good
Yeah.
week last week. And I think Drew Lock have a good one. So that makes me want to go towards Jerry Judy, and I'm with you. Leonard Fournette should be good.
I like Jerry Judy. Well, Judy and Marvin Jones put up similar numbers last week,
Yeah,
so it wasn't like a big difference between those two. I just think Drew Lock is it. I ain't saying he's playing better than Stafford, but Stafford is actually probably hurt. And then I just don't know the situation there as far as is he going to be healthy this week enough to make it
right.
look good? But I just don't know. I'm going Judy. I'm going Judy definitely, and Leonard Fournette. I think Leonard Fournette just he slowly but surely he's taking that
Right.
job from Ronald Jones. So
Yeah,
definitely,
I
I'm
mean,
going.
we saw a bit more Ronald Jones that last game than I think I expected to see. But
Yeah,
Leonard Fournette has showed he's the most effective of the two.
yeah,
So I'm with you
definitely,
there. Like I said, Leonard Fournette was the first one I was like definitely
yeah.
between them. So thanks for the question, Trey S. Great having you with us as
Appreciate it.
always.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you.
so you're about to say impact players. What you got,
So
man?
we're gonna go with the quarterbacks first. We're gonna start with our second week in a row. I'm putting them on the list. Patrick Mahomes, 30 for
Of course,
45, 372, 4 touchdowns. We already know about Patty. I'm sorry, Patrick
this is
Mahomes. We
Patrick.
we, we, we know about it.
Uh huh.
Josh Allen, 31 and 38, 415, 3 touchdowns. Amazing game. Did well. I can't take nothing from him. Aaron Rodgers back on the list again, 23 or
Good game.
31, 305, 4 touchdowns. Balled out. Can't be mad at that. Ben Roethlisberger got hurt, came back in the game, 29 to 42, 306, 3 touchdowns. Justin Herbert, the man can't stay off the list. I mean, 28 42, 326, 2 touchdowns. He gonna be great. I mean, next year fantasy, he's a top 5 quarterback for me. Going it because I mean, you just got to
Okay.
think about it. He he's doing great this year as a rookie. Going into next year, as long as he don't hit that rookie slump second year wall, top 5 for me. I mean, he gonna push a lot of older
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
down the line. So definitely, that's who. Those are my 5. I wanted to add a little bit more. I
Yeah.
would have ran
I would
off
say you
a lot.
normally do three, so
I know. I just I kind of I was like I had to add him because I didn't add him last week, but
yeah,
he definitely bought. I have to put him up here. Like
yeah.
I say, next year I'm going on a limb. Top 5. He's in that top 5 quarterback next year.
Okay.
So
Hey, I'm not gonna argue. Well, top five is high, but I'm not
I
gonna.
mean,
But I won't argue at this point with you. Before I go, you basically had the guys I had. I wanted to make another quarterback comment, but we
mm,
have another question from Bobby Schmurda. Um, Welcome
Bobby
to the show.
Smurder, like that page, please, Bobby
All
Smurder.
right, here's your question. You got to make some trade calls. Would you
Okay.
trade Michael Thomas and Chris Godwin for Fulgham and Crowder? PPR.
Fulgham and Crowder. No, no.
Uh-huh.
I have a belief you should never I have a belief you should play your studs, and I have a belief you shouldn't trade your studs unless you get a stud back in return. I like Crowder. Crowder's playing well. Don't get me wrong. Fogel's playing well, but you
Yeah.
don't give. I mean,
Let
honestly,
me
Michael Thomas is gonna come around.
give me some feedback on this, Bobby. I'm assuming this is a redraft league because in the dynasty league, the answer is like heck to the no
No, no,
to keep it PG.
no.
So I'm assuming this question would have to be on a redraft league
Trying to be a redraft league.
starting off. But even for that, I can understand the logic in as much as Thomas and Chris Godwin haven't given you much this year. But I think, fingers crossed, because I have both of these players across a couple of leagues, they're back and they're going to be healthy. And I picked them. over those other two guys any day of the
Yeah.
week. So I'm with you. I don't make that trade. There was a part two though. On that question, Joe Mixon for James Conner. On that one, I say yes
I do
because
it in a heartbeat. I would
yeah,
have did it yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
For that one, and that's also PPR. But for that one, I want James Conner. Joe Mixon. Well, this is I say this. This is Joe Mixon time based off
It
last
is.
year. Suppose this is when he should start getting better. I don't know if I have faith in that happening 2 years
But
in a row like that though.
my thing
Yeah.
is, this is constant every year for the last 2 years. Joe Mixon, week 8, week
Right.
9, week 10, he started kicking it in high gear. I just don't. If you're gonna do it, I need you to be consistent with it.
Right.
Start from the beginning of the year and do your thing. But don't
Right.
wait to the middle of the year when people start losing faith in you, and then you want to start doing it. Connor been doing it the whole year.
Yeah.
If you can make that trade to get Connor, I would do it.
Yeah.
Like I would
I
do it now.
definitely Connor. And apparently
Yep.
there's a hashtag free Bobby Schmurda
Hey,
going
free
around.
Bobby Smurda, baby.
I
Hey.
think I'd love to know that backstory. But and thanks for the question. Much appreciated. Trey S says he's actually trying to trade Gurley for Michael Thomas. Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
I still wouldn't do it. I'm telling you, Michael Thomas is gonna come around.
Yeah.
I just don't do,
This is
especially
uh
if he's in the playoffs. You need that. You need that playoff stud. I mean, Gurley. Don't get me
I
wrong.
like the way Gurley's going. I think I'd rather have Michael Thomas in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Thomas could go off at any point, and he's gonna be missing that.
Now this is also a guy. Disclaimer: I have Michael Thomas in like I think 4 out of my 7 leagues, so I
Yeah,
went very high on Michael Thomas. So I'm the guy at the casino pulling on that slot. Like eventually, this thing is gonna pay off. Not a great game last week, but it's his first game back. I think you'll see more. Drew Brees looked for him quite a few times, though. So
yeah. I
I'm
think.
feeling happy.
Yeah, I would
Happy-ish.
not. I
Happy's
would
too.
not.
Yeah, happy's not the right word, but I feel okay.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. All right. So back to the impact quarterbacks. You had the great list of guys. I think we're gonna probably talk about this more because his name's gonna come up in one of our stories. But Nick Foles
Yeah.
uh, had 335 yards, 2 touchdowns, and actually had 52 passing attempts, which is very
God.
not Chicago-ish. My question was going to be for you: if you were in a quarterback need, by let's say you have Mahomes or Matt Ryan sitting out, do you grab a Nick Foles to try to go this
Mm,
week?
this week against Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Um, I just don't like Nick Foles. Nick
Me
Foles
either.
is streaky,
Yeah.
and that Minnesota defense, it ain't bad. It
Right.
ain't great either. It's middle of the pack. So I think Nick Foles can get exposed a little bit this week, like he always do.
Right.
I just think he's just too hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
I would go
It's,
another route
yeah.
personally
You
if I
hit the
could.
good streak week. Don't
Yeah,
let it ride. And the other guy
yeah,
that's gonna come up later, Lamar Jackson. Not a
yeah.
great week. And here's the fun fact about Lamar Jackson for all that he was last year. 8 weeks, right? How many games has he thrown for over 200 yards this year?
None.
No, there's some, not a lot, and some barely. Three out of 8
See,
games. Yeah,
but I told you last year he only threw for 300 yards one time
yeah.
last year,
And I
and
think
I've been pre.
his highest number, Lamar Jackson's high number for the year, I think was that first game against Cleveland. He threw for like 260, 270 or something like that. And the other 2 times he barely got over 200.
Yeah,
So we're gonna talk a lot of Lamar
he
Jackson
just
later
he got
because he made the news
yeah
himself. But just when we're going through quarterbacks, I was like, okay, you hit the impact guys. I'm gonna throw in a couple
yeah
of not impact players.
yeah.
We'll see what they do. So running
So
backs.
got some running backs, but you gotta listen to this list that I say.
Let me take
I only got
notes.
3 names.
Okay.
So the first one is Dalvin Cook. Obviously,
Also,
Dalvin Cook. I mean, 206, 2 touchdowns. James Robinson, 99 yards, touchdown. Kyler Murray, 106 yards and a touchdown.
you put Kyler Murray with the running backs.
So when I was doing my
Uh,
pregame stat checking and going through my work,
right,
Kyler Murray was one of two people or players to
right.
only have 100 yards this week. And the
The
only
other
other
one
guy
was
was
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
That's the point I was gonna like. There was one I didn't think about Kyler Murray in this list. I was like, there's only one running back who went over 100 yards. Robinson was close, but it didn't quite make it. But so
Last week,
it's
and he
crazy.
deserves to be on the running back list.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not even going to talk about the fact that he threw for over 300 yards, too.
yeah,
But that's just, we ain't going to talk about that. That's just something else. But the reason I did that is because, again, those three running backs were the only three that were close
yeah,
to 100, if
yeah.
not 100, but close to
Everybody
100.
else was Christian.
65, 75,
Mm-hmm.
80 yards. It wasn't even close.
Not even.
It was a bad week for running backs. For Kyler Murray to make the list, it was
It
bad.
was a bad week.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
I fantasy impact. I had Christian McCaffrey on the list. However, it's a short lived impact. It's like if you drafted Christian McCaffrey with your first pick,
gosh.
you have to be hating this year because
Yes.
like you get him back. And did you see the play when he injured his shoulder? Because like instantly he kept hitting. I
I
was like,
went and watched it. It was yeah.
yeah, like
It's
he
bad.
kept going to his shoulder. I was like, this cannot be good. And then when they announced he was out, I was like,
But I got a question coming later for you on that too. So
all right.
def yeah, I got definitely a question on that. So we're gonna go to receivers.
Hold on, we have a new question.
Okay.
Jasper Lewis, not me, but my father. Happy Veterans Day to you, by the way.
Happy
Um,
Veterans Day to everybody.
we had technical difficulties, but if you all saw the opening of the show, we had two players highlighted on the intro side: Alexandra Villanueva and Joe Cardona, who are the only two active players who are also military or have had military experience. One, Alejandro Villanueva in the Army, and Joe Cardona, a long snapper who's in the Navy, reserves, I think. But question from Jasper Lewis: I have Fournette and Ronald Jones. Is it time to sit Jones? He said, "I think so." What do you say? I definitely say it's time to sit Jones.
I say yes.
Yeah,
If you look at the last 2 weeks, Fournette has been more productive than Ronald Jones. I mean, the touches have been similar, but Fournette has used them better than Ronald
yes,
Jones. So I think it's time. And the thing is, they brought in Fournette for a reason. They didn't bring in Fournette to sit on the bench.
right.
They bring in Fournette to play because they knew Ronald Jones, again, been playing well, yes.
Yeah, Ronald Jones. He's had some nice games, but once
But
every
Fournette
time
was the
Fournette gets back in, you see Ronald Jones go to almost nothing. So
yeah,
yeah,
and he's a better blocker when it comes to pass blocking than Ronald Jones,
yeah,
and that's big as far as Tom Brady because if you miss a
yeah.
block, you ain't getting in the game no more.
Right.
So we already know what time it is with that. So yeah,
Yeah, follow comment says, or even both, or maybe sit both 5 rushes for them. Tampa Bay. Let's get into that for just a small
small second.
that
Yeah,
that Tampa Bay game. What do you
it's
say? I was like, they
I,
look just.
I
I
look.
think it's an anomaly. I don't think so. But they look
I,
terrible, like top to bottom, terrible. Offense,
I mean,
defense, special
honestly, let me
teams,
tell you like
terrible.
this.
Right.
I think, and this is the real for me. I think it's too many cooks in the kitchen. And when I
Right.
say too many cooks in the kitchen, you add a AB, you get a Godwin, you got a Evans.
Yeah.
It's too much. You got a Grunk. You have to feed too many people in that offense.
Right.
Somebody gonna be upset at some point.
Yeah.
And obviously AB is on a short leash, so he can't be upset.
Yeah.
But Godwin and Mike Evans definitely can be upset because by bringing them in, and then the thing is, you gotta look at the fact that AB is living with Tom Brady, so they probably got in the back of their mind, well, dang, that's kind of messed up. Bring him in, living with him. I don't know how good that is. And
Right.
then Tom Brady looked old. Like he looked old that game. He couldn't get out of the pocket. He couldn't move. When he played a good
Right.
defense, it is the same thing that happened when they played him in week one. He could not. He couldn't get. He couldn't move. He couldn't get around.
Yeah.
And I think the defense was too quick for him. They play good against lesser teams,
Right.
but when they play good teams, you see the age of Tom Brady kind of sneaking in a little bit.
Any team
That's
that
my
can
thing.
get a pass rush is going to make Tom
Yep.
Brady look. And that's been years. And
Mm-hmm.
so they once you get a pass rush on, he can't take getting hit. Once he gets
No.
hit, all the beauty of Tom Brady goes out the window. And I'm with you. I think it's too much for that
Mm-hmm.
team, but only by one person, and that one person is Antonio Brown. I am the number one Antonio Brown hater because of the disrespect he showed to my beloved Raiders. So Al Davis, the curse of Al Davis is upon them. Even though Al Davis wasn't alive for that, it don't even matter. So that team is going to fail as long as Antonio Brown is there. There you
I
go.
feel like they're gonna force feed him,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be that way. Like
Right.
you was fine with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin
Oh, when you
and
had
Grunt
Chris Godwin.
when
So,
you had Chris Godwin,
right.
but Grunt was coming along,
Yeah.
so you was fine with that. You was y'all they were rolling. They had
Yeah.
good chemistry, but you bring that in to mess it up. I just don't. And then you give him 5, 6 targets
Right.
too. No, I don't like
Yeah,
that.
we'll
No,
we'll see where it goes. But
no.
the actual question was about Fournette. I think you still have faith in him. Start him. See what happens this week.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think you start for that definitely.
All right.
So
You were about to say something
re-
about wide receivers, tight
receivers,
ends.
wide receiver, tight
Good,
ends.
because we had a question come in about a tight end. So, but I want you to do your impact players first.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Richie James. Richie James had a big game, 9 receptions, 184. No,
Right.
no homer talk,
That,
just regular.
it's a
You
true
know,
fact, though. It's a fact. You can't have
yeah,
100.
180.
You can't have 184 yards and not get mentioned. So go
Yeah,
ahead.
got to mention him. A
Right.
touchdown to losing cause. Devontae Adams, 10 receptions, 173, one touchdown. Same game.
Mm-hmm.
Jacoby Myers, 12 receptions,
Interesting. Right.
169, no touchdowns. DJ Chark, 7 receptions, 146 with a rookie quarterback. I would love to see
Right.
how far that goes down. I want to see how much that goes. Because Minshew probably gonna lose a job if he play well again. And again, Jerry
Right.
Judy, 7 receptions, 125 and a touchdown. Again, second week in a row, Jerry Judy has been productive. Maybe he hit that rookie wall in the beginning,
Right.
and he's starting to come along now. So I think he's starting to get that.
Yeah.
Like him and his quarterback are probably gonna start hitting that number real good. So, and obviously tight end is Kelsey. So 10
There you go.
receptions, 159. So got to have it to him. So I ain't mad at that. So
Can't get mad at that.
can't
So
get mad at that.
yeah, I had those guys. I had a Tyreek Hill on the list. 119, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 receptions, and I had Curtis Samuel, who we mentioned at the top of the show, who
Yes.
outperformed DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson last week.
Again.
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 Anyway, moving on for that. But of
Yeah.
course, the number one guy is Travis Kelsey, the only tight end with over 70 yards
Yeah.
last week. And that brings us to the question from Sydney L. Number one fan of the show. That's my wife, y'all. I told y'all that she started playing fantasy football this year. She wanted to test it out, see how it goes. So she said she needs some tight end help. Because you can imagine her tight end is Travis
Kelsey.
Kelsey. She's from
Yeah.
Kansas City. So he's on a bye. So who she who should she start in her league? She and these guys are actually all available on waiver wires. Jared Cook, Eric Ebron, Austin Hooper, and Evan Ingram. It's
Eric
PPR.
Ebron. Eric Ebron.
Interesting. Okay. And
I
you
like
you
Eric
you went there
Ebron.
quickly.
I do. I
Why
see
Eric Ebron?
I watched that Pittsburgh game,
Uh huh.
and I think Big Ben tends to, even with all those receivers, once they get between the 20 in the end zone, he looks for Eric Ebron. And
Uh
he
huh.
made a good play last week. Um, the other ones, they're inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. Ebron is sometimes inconsistent too, but I think he
Yeah.
gets more opportunity in Pittsburgh than the
Okay.
rest of them do. So that's who I would say. And I'm running with Eric Ebron this week too. So I think it's a good pickup.
So
So
you want to be like you, start
yeah,
Eric Ebron. I
I
got
didn't
you.
steer I didn't steer her wrong the last time, so she should listen this time too. So
Well, I'm going to come in halfway agree with you. Austin Hooper, I eliminated just off that whole Cleveland
please get him
situation. I
out.
was like,
Yes.
no. I, I think he has a ceiling that he can do well, but it's too unpredictable. They love to run the tight ends. They have 3 tight ends, and at different points in the season, they've all looked good. So that's
Hmm.
too unreliable. Plus, he's just coming off his appendectomy surgery, so
Yeah.
I want to
So
see him play. It should be all right, but I wouldn't go with him. I actually started off thinking I'd go with Jared Cook because of all of them. He's the touchdown guy with the New Orleans Saints. But I think with Michael Thomas coming back, I dropped him off of that list just because he's touchdown dependent. If he doesn't get the touchdowns, he's no good to you.
it's no good to you.
And so it really comes down to Eric Ebron and Evan Ingram because they both have opportunity. They both, I think, those are going to
Hmm.
be the two most consistent ones.
Yeah.
If you look over the past like 3 weeks, I think Evan Ingram has gotten 9 or 10 targets every week. Um,
Yes.
if you look over the last 3 weeks, Eric Ebron has gotten a total of 2 touchdowns, about 40ish yards. So
I mean,
it's there. I think I like Evan Ingram more just because he's pretty much the main target there in New
yeah.
York. Um, but I like Eric Ebron's quarterback better. So the only thing that's holding me back from Evan Ingram is Danny Dimes, and I need to stop calling him that
Me
because
too.
he doesn't deserve that nickname anymore.
The
I think you
reason
can
I'm
flip
going.
a coin, but I think I'm gonna flip my coin for Evan Ingram. But I like Eric Ebron too. I don't think you can go wrong either way.
I mean, Ingram, he gets the targets. He doesn't get the touchdowns.
Yeah,
Ebron gets the
one
touchdowns.
touchdown all year.
So
One touchdown all year.
that's the reason I would go with Ebron
Yeah,
over him, just because of the fact that, again, when you get in that 20, between the 20 and the end zone, they
Ben
look
is
for
looking
Eric
for him.
Ebron.
Yeah,
They looking for him. Now on the other end, he'll get every reception going down the field, but when it gets down to getting in the end zone, they don't look his way.
and I don't understand that at all.
So, and he's a big target.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
just
This
don't.
is why I don't
If you're
get
gonna
it.
feed him, I just don't get that. If you're
No.
gonna feed him going down the field, feed him in the end zone. So I'm going Ebron. I
Yeah,
think Ebron, even though I ain't gonna say touchdown dependent,
he.
but
I
he
would
has
say he
more
is,
opportunity.
and that's the part where he is, to me. But he's been getting a lot of touchdowns the last few weeks. So,
Yes.
well, a lot is the wrong word, but
Well,
he's been getting compared to Evan Ingram's one all
yeah,
season. Yeah,
exactly.
but
So
the PPR part of it makes me want to go Evan Ingram because he will at least get you receptions if nothing else.
yeah, but
Yeah,
if you're getting, they getting. I think I want to say Ebron had 4 receptions, 40 yards, and a touchdowns last week, if I'm
yeah,
not mistaken, something like that.
something like
And
that.
Ingram had what, 6 or 7 targets, but he only had like 40 yards.
40. Yeah,
It's still the same number.
yeah,
If you're thinking about
exactly.
total points, it's still the
Yeah,
same.
that's why I say it's
'Cause-
about the same between the two. I
Yeah,
don't. I'm almost certain that at the end of the week they're gonna both have very close numbers. Yeah.
exactly. So definitely.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I mean, so in got a little waiver wire, some guys on the waiver wire that you can possibly use this week. Um, Jacoby Myers is one.
You got to thank you.
No problem, no problem.
Thanks
Always
for the
family.
question.
Um, Curtis Samuel,
Mm-hmm.
Jakeem Grant, which is a
Yeah,
interesting. I want to talk about this one a little bit.
please do.
Interesting. Um, Preston Williams is out for the year, obviously.
Yeah, another guy
So
I was high on this year that didn't turn out.
I just want. I have this thing with Grant. Grant, they don't use him. It reminds me of the Kenyon Drake thing in Miami, where they didn't
Okay.
use him correctly.
Okay.
And when Kenyon Drake went somewhere else, he started to show what he could do. I think if they use Jakeem Grant in a way like they use Tyreek Hill,
Mm-hmm.
I think he would be more productive for them.
Okay.
Now, this is a chance for them to use him that way, which
We're
I don't know
pressing
if they
out.
will with pressing out, and I think they should use him a little bit more personally.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? I think I ain't gonna say not talented, but he's in the NFL, so he's in the NFL, so he has to
Reason
be
to be
sort of,
talented, right?
yes, should be talented.
Here's
So
the biggest thing I say for him, and I actually meant to at least say a slight head nod to this guy when we talk quarterbacks. Tua
yeah,
looked very good this past week.
Yes, he did.
And so if they can run that offense, I think he's a nice waiver wire pickup. You're gonna get me on, and this is true for most waiver wire guys.
Hmm.
Consistency is sort of
Yeah,
like a hit or miss with these guys. So boom or bust, if you will. So
yeah,
yeah, but I right now, who's the talented guys left still playing with Miami? I think you got to put him on the list as opportunity guy. Yeah,
yeah. And he's available. Like
yeah.
he's available in a lot of leagues. Like honestly, I picked him up. I'm playing him in my lineup this week. I feel
Oh,
like
okay.
he he's the because you got to think about it. They traded Ford to
Yeah,
New England. Preston Williams got hurt for the season, so really they're down to two receivers that you know of
yeah,
anyway. So he has to end. He's still the kick returner. He's still the punt returner. So in a sense, if your league does return yards, he's
then yeah,
definitely
for that one,
valuable.
it's
He's
no
definitely
doubt.
valuable for you to put in the lineup. You have to play him. And I have three more.
Okay.
Tim Patrick is one.
Yeah,
He
he's
came off for injury last week, played well, really well last week. Duke Johnson is another one you can pick up this week.
but only if David Johnson is out,
David
which it
Johnson,
looks like it. Yeah,
he's out this week
yeah,
with a concussion. They say
yeah.
he's
They say
progressing
he's going in the
downwards.
wrong way, so it
Yes,
looks like it's going to be Duke Johnson.
yes.
Yeah.
And I want to say this guy is probably going to be the comeback player of the year, Alex Smith. Um,
Okay.
Cal Allen went down this week, and they say he's probably going to be done for the rest of the year. That means Alex Smith, and you know they're not bringing Haskins back, so it's going to be Alex Smith who's going to get the call, and Alex Smith should. He threw for 325 last week and a touchdown and three interceptions, but I feel
Yeah,
like
some crucial interceptions, but for fantasy,
yeah,
you can get away with that.
yeah,
You
you can
but
get away with that.
you must
So
have felt our next guest signing on, Mr. Anthony Wilkins Jr., Western
uh,
Branch alum,
what's going on,
joining us.
brother?
So I'm pretty sure he likes some Alex Smith, but he just wants to let you know that he's going to make the playoffs in the gridiron. Tony has joined us a couple of times this year on our RJ
Yes,
Fantasy Football Talk. We play in two leagues with him. Yeah,
yes.
we play in two leagues with him. So he's mentioning he's making the playoffs in the gridiron. I can't help but notice he's really silent on the SMFL. I'm gonna
Yeah,
leave that
it really
alone.
is.
He's
Well, look,
real quiet, real quiet. He's our defending champ, but I think we
yeah,
can guarantee he will not be
oh
defending
no,
that ground. So
not even a little
not
bit.
even a
But
little bit.
in the gridiron, I did because he joined this
Yeah,
year, and I said, look, hey man, you got to represent, you got to make the playoffs, and he did his thing.
yeah.
I
He's
ain't
doing
mad at him.
well. He's doing
He
well.
adapted, and he adapted well to the standards of that league, and he adapted to the flow and how it goes. And we all know how that goes. It's big. It's a little different over there from
Yeah,
where he came from. It's more of a free flowing league. So he came in. I ain't mad at him. He doing well.
for certain,
So
for certain.
congratulations, man. You gotta get there. You gotta win it though. So
He
that's
ain't
all that
winning.
matters.
He ain't winning.
So gotta get there. So we'll see.
Uh,
But that's all I got for the waiver wise. If you have any ones to add,
Uh, I've got some darts to throw because you said
okay,
all the main ones that I had written down, but here's some
okay,
darts. And what? Don't do this unless you're desperate. Don't do this unless you're desperate. Ryan Nall could fill in for you in your running back spot. Uh, Depending on what's happening up in Chicago, um, I wouldn't do it unless I was desperate. But he
yeah,
could be a good maybe RB2 if you need him. He actually had a really good uh, uh, performance last week, filling in once David Montgomery went out. Um,
hmm
I'd also say this one if Kenny Galladay misses another week, Danny Amendola, and Danny Amendola's been a PPR guy
for
for
years,
for years. And
yeah,
last week, when people were looking at Marvin Jones and
it was,
Hall
it
to
was
be the filling guys, it was Danny Amendola who led
yeah,
all receivers in Detroit. So throw those darts if you need to throw those darts.
yeah. I mean, I Damian though is one that you could
Yeah,
because he's a slot receiver, and most
yeah,
good quarterbacks they love their slot receivers.
yeah.
They definitely want to get those guys involved. Marvin Jones still should have a good game, but Kenny Galladay, he got to stop getting hurt, man. Plain and simple.
If
He
he
is
could
killing
help
me.
that, I'm sure he would. Right?
Yo, like he is so like he
Yeah.
got to stop getting hurt, man. It's just
Yeah,
terrible,
it's
man.
been a bad year. I think we both had Kenny Galladay in our top receiving tier, and
Yeah.
because of it, the only reason is because of injuries. He hasn't lived up to it this year, but
Oh,
it
but
happened. That, hey, that's fantasy football. But if you're struggling with receivers because of a situation like that, those guys I recommend are available in less. I mean, have been rostered in less than 10% of
exactly.
leagues across the board. So they're there if you need them. Hopefully, you don't need them. But
Hopefully you don't.
yeah,
So we'll see. But we got a little bit of
Well,
news.
let's go to some news stories because
We got some
there's some interesting ones.
we got some news. I'm gonna leave the one I really want to talk about. I'm gonna leave that last. We're just gonna
Okay,
jump into this two first. So
okay, what
first
you got
one is
first?
the news came out that the NFL could expand the playoffs to 16 teams if any more games are
Right.
canceled. Um, I want to get your thoughts and your feelings about how you feel about this. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's something that can be done every year?
It's something I don't understand the benefit of.
Okay.
As those watchers probably already know, the NFL already expanded to 7 playoff teams. So
Yeah.
right now, the way it's set up, there'll be one team from each conference with a bye week. Everybody
Hmm.
else is in playing. So if they have to push back, because right now the issue earlier in the season when games were missed, they just would substitute bye weeks. But we're almost
Hmm.
done with bye weeks now, so they're looking at their options. So right, they're gonna have potentially 8 teams, so nobody would get a bye week, and that's the first thing that bothers me about it. I think
Okay.
if you won the division or at least with the top team in your conference, you've earned a bye week. So I don't like the fact that they do this and take away the bye weeks from those two top teams to put in teams that honestly probably don't deserve to be in the playoffs to begin with.
That's true.
So
Because I feel like you'll get an 8-8, 7-9, eighth seed.
yeah, and we
So
and we already know with the NFC East, there's a good chance of even a 6 and 10. So then you're gonna add another bad team with it.
it, I just don't. I can.
Yeah,
I mean, because truthfully, I think it comes down to they want to go to 18 games
yeah,
and they want to eliminate at least 2 games of the preseason. So they trying to figure out, and I think this is the year they can kind of use it to kind of tweak some 14 teams, or do we want to have
16.
16 teams?
Right.
So, and they want to see how it work out. I feel like again, like you said, you earned a bye.
Yeah,
Why can't you get your bye? Because the thing about it is, if you're the 1 seed, you play an 8 seed, and you have an off night or off game,
yeah,
that 8 seed may come in and beat you, and then what you did that whole season means absolutely nothing
right.
at this point. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's a good idea. Only if your team is in the NFC East and they're gonna finish
Right.
8, 7-9, or 6-10, and you can say, "Hooray, my team made the playoffs at 6-10." I think that's kind of whack, personally.
Yeah.
You watering down the playoffs when it's supposed to be exciting at the end
Right.
of the day. So I just don't.
Right.
I don't think. No.
So the first part is just seem unnecessary, and the second part is from a set of okay, they're doing this under the auspice of if COVID happened. I don't understand how this resolves any issue with COVID-19 because
It don't.
I think there's 32 teams in the league. So if you add 2 extra teams to the playoffs, that fixes the problem of having to cancel a whole week of games.
No, it don't.
How?
it,
like
it don't.
what did we accomplish by adding that? I'm with you. I think it's really just an hey. Here's the way to experiment. Like you said, here's a way to experiment if we want to do this next year, and we could
Yeah.
say COVID-19. I'm like, it has nothing at all to do. It doesn't fix a single COVID issue.
I
So
think, and the thing is, I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do, and I
right,
could be wrong. But I think next year they're going to 2 preseason games, obviously. So it's going
yeah,
to be 2 preseason games, and it's going to be an 18 game schedule.
right,
That's going to happen. Whether people like it or not, I don't know how that affects fantasy, purpose wise,
Right.
but in real life, you're gonna do 18 games, and a lot of players don't like preseason.
Right.
Obviously, we know that, but you got. I feel like you need those reps to kind of, and that's why you got players ACL, knee
Right.
injuries, high ankle sprains, no training camp,
Uh-huh.
no preseason. That's the issue because you have no time to train and prep for a regular season.
Right.
That means you're gonna have to carry more people on the staff, more people on the roster. You paying more money for these guys, these extra guys that's on the roster. To me, it don't. It's about money with them. And if you get,
Everything is right.
it's about money. And if you're getting more playoff games, it's more money in their pocket. So they trying to figure out how they can make more money because they're not making money off preseason games.
Right. And I'm with you. By the way, here's a good time to say hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check us out on rnjfantasyfootballtalk.com because a week ago we put out a blog post and it talked about the number of injuries. And one of the reasons I agree that one of the reasons I think there's so many injuries is it'd be hard to prove it definitively. But the fact that they haven't had time, and Anthony just put it in, your body has to have time to prep for contact. If they're just going straight into these games with only 2 preseason games, people aren't in shape. We saw this year with no preseason games. We're seeing all these injuries pop up, and these are the kinds of injuries that
Yeah.
I think are a result of not having your body properly prepped and prepared for a grueling NFL season. So
Well, they
it's
was
all
in
in the
pad.
blog. That's why we're missing so many players, and we have to do all these uh, fantasy football waiver wire fillings. And I think that's probably the biggest impact of them reducing the preseason is we're going to see this stuff happen more commonly.
Well, the thing is, they went. I think they put on pads for 2 weeks before the
Yeah,
season started this year.
something. It was a very and
It
even then they had fewer contact uh, session
practices,
practices. So
and the thing is, and that's that for me.
yeah,
I've been watching football for a long time. For me, that's the issue.
yeah,
Back in the day, they had training camp, and they had training camp with pads on from day one.
yeah,
So it's like their body is not getting used to being hit,
yeah,
and I think they being kind of soft on these guys. You got to let these guys go in and knock somebody around and kind of get their body used to it, and then let them recover because that's the only way
yeah.
their
To
body will
get ready
start
for it.
feeling it. So I don't get it. And the thing is, if they keep going this route, you're gonna see the ACLs, you're gonna see the high ankle sprains.
Yeah,
That stuff is hard to recover from.
yeah.
You can't just run out there in 2 weeks and then think it's okay. It's not happening that way.
No.
So
It,
I think it's crazy.
it's a data point on one, but this season I think is a big data point. So, like I said, if they switch it like that next year, there's going to be something to keep track of. Tony
Yeah,
texts back in. He says it's not enough and not much contact for to play a full season. So, hey, but we
I
don't get paid to make those decisions. So I guess we'll find out, right?
we'll find out. So I'm actually this is not a question. This is
Okay.
more of a well, this is not a news because, like I said, I want to hold the last one, but this is more of a question. So, going into fantasy next year, looking at the season this year,
Okay.
who is better, Alvin Kamara or Dalvin Cook?
I'm not going to say he's better,
Okay,
but I go into next year with Dalvin Cook ahead of Alvin Kamara only because, and the only
okay,
reason is because I think a lot of we saw Alvin Kamara like 2 years ago show he had this kind of talent, but
yes,
he has a lot more competition as far as mouths to feed in New Orleans. Dalvin Cook is pretty much that dude.
okay,
You have Adam Thielen. Jeffries has been calling up as a stronger, but I think because Kirk Cousins, assuming Kirk Cousins is there next year, has some very limiting factors. They want to
yes,
they're going to rely on that running game. So Dalvin Cook is going to always be that guy because they don't have any other options. Well, they don't have many other options. Whereas in New Orleans, they got plenty of other
Well,
options. Yeah,
I want to say Kirk Cousins is going to be there next year
yeah,
because Kirk Cousins owed
yeah. They
$66
owe him a lot of
million
money. Yeah,
next year.
He
Um,
gets paid a lot of money to throw those interceptions.
yes, he does.
So yeah,
He's guaranteed. He signed a new deal. I think it's 2 years, 66 million. He's guaranteed $33 million next year.
yeah,
Nobody is taking that contract on with that has any sense anyway.
right,
He is a game manager at most.
yeah.
So I'm leaning towards Dalvin. I love me some Alvin Kamara, And the
I,
thing is,
and
I
he's a wide
love
receiver slash running back
yes,
second, right? But
I'm
that's with Drew Brees there, and
yes.
he might be there again next year. But Drew Brees is getting to that point where he's going to retire. Let's say theoretically he retires, and it's Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill there. Do you have the same value on Alvin Kamara with either one of those guys?
I think with Taysom Hill, his value goes up skyrocket
Okay.
because Taysom Hill, even though I feel like he's good, but I feel like he's overrated. But
Uh
I think he will draw attention as far as because they know he's a threat to run.
huh.
So that Alvin's gonna get that extra look out of the backfield because they're gonna say,
Okay.
oh, we gotta contain him on the edges.
Okay.
So if you do a running back out the backfield, Alvin can get those catches out of the backfield like normal. Now with Jameis Winston, that's a whole different ball game.
Uh,
Jameis Winston is throwing it down the field. He does not look. I ain't gonna say he don't look for his running backs, but
right.
with Sean Payton there, Sean Payton gonna make sure he get his anyway.
Yeah.
But the people that's gonna benefit the most from this is Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders.
Jared Cook.
Those guys are gonna benefit the most if a Jameis Winston is there. So, but Dalvin, like you say, Dalvin Cook is the man. Is always gonna be the man. Even with Thielen and Jefferson there, he's still gonna
Yeah.
be that guy. Because he's gonna be there because they have no choice unless they just gonna dump him somewhere like in Jacksonville or something. But I just don't see that happening. But I mean, but the one person that's gonna be most affected by these two running backs is CMC. CMC is definitely gonna fall just a little bit
Oh,
next year
I think just for the injury, this
alone.
you know, when you see a guy how these types of injuries they drop down. We saw Saquon Barkley still
He's another
maintain
one.
that second pick this year, but I think I could see Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey falling out of the top two next year
Yeah,
in drafts. So. And I think they
but
get replaced with these guys we're talking about, Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara. Tony says that he also would pick Dalvin Cook. And he says that Taysom Hill is a weapon. It's not a pure quarterback. I agree. I think
me too.
if Drew Brees were to retire this year, I think Jameis Winston gets that job. Um, I would say one more last thing on Taysom Hill that you mentioned that it might help Kamara because they have to respect his game. They're not the same guys, but it reminds me of Josh Allen, where you have to respect his running back. And how does that work for Josh Allen's running backs? Not
It,
great.
that's great, but
Not great.
I
How
think
Lamar Jackson is a guy who runs. You have to respect him. How well does that work? I know they still have the number one running game, but I don't know. I just think Taysom Hill is probably worse for Alvin Kamara.
I mean you gotta look at the coaches.
Yeah,
In Buffalo, they don't they design plays at the goal line for
for
Josh
Josh.
Allen.
Yeah,
I think
and
with
they'll do the
Sean,
same thing with Tate. They design
they do,
They design plays for Taysom Hill now,
but
and
I think with Sean Payton, he knows he's valuable to the team, and I
right.
think like Alvin Kamara is way more valuable
Yeah,
than any running back on Buffalo. Period. And the same thing
yeah,
with Baltimore. Their running backs, like Alvin Kamara, is better than all their running backs
yeah.
put together.
Definitely.
So Sean Payton knows the value of him. So that's why they're gonna keep him involved.
Yeah,
Now, I think the people that get hurt the most, Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders,
yeah,
Jared Cook, those guys get hurt the most because he's not a great thrower. He can't
yeah.
throw the ball that great for me. So at the end of the day, I think I'm going Dalvin Cook, but I think Saquon, if you can get Saquon drop into the third or fourth round next year, same
Oh,
thing
he's
with
not falling
CMC.
that far.
No,
You
I
mean
mean
third or
because
fourth pick? You mean? Because you said
yeah,
third or fourth
I'm
round.
sorry, third
Okay.
or fourth pick. I'm sorry,
Yeah. I was
third or
like,
fourth pick. If you can get
right.
him there, That's good value
Yeah,
for those
that's
two guys.
definitely
That's
value pick.
excellent value at the end of the day. I
I
mean,
agree.
because definitely these two guys are jumping them this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Honestly.
It's way too early predictions for our draft, but I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
I want to welcome Nita to the show. Hi. She said, "Yeah, I understand you've had some difficulty logging. We had some trouble ourselves, so the problem might have been us." She also asked, "Did we hear the Shannon Sharp called Tom Brady, Tom Jamie win?"
Did he call
Tom
Tom
Jamie?
Brady out?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
don't
have
know.
not heard that. I'm about to look
I
that
might
one
have
up right after
me
the show.
too.
Shannon
Yeah.
Sharp is a dude who will say some stuff. So
Yes.
I definitely got to check out whatever
I'm
was said. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about that one. Definitely.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Thanks for the head up. You got me curious. All
But
right, what's your other
it
story?
the other story is the new diversity rule that they
Right.
have in the NFL, which they basically is if you hire or I'm assuming hire a black
A
or
minority person.
minority
Right.
coach, you get a third round pick. But
Well, not
I
if you
have
hired him though.
no. If you interview them,
Right.
you got
Well,
is it
well,
is it
the way the rule works is it rewards you with a third round picks. I'm getting a message. You're gonna have to come tell me. I have no idea what you're saying.
I'm just telling you to stop clicking the pen.
Oh, okay. So the way this rule works is you get third round picks if you develop either a head coach or a
okay?
general manager. So let's say, for instance, Kansas City has I can't remember the offensive coordinator's name right now, but he's
Great off.
gonna most definitely get some
Wow.
opportunities to become a head coach next year. So Kansas City would get rewarded with third round picks because they
Okay.
get the credit for developing a head coach. And it works the same way if you have someone in your front office that gets a general manager position. So
Okay.
if the person hiring them doesn't get the advantage, I guess their advantage is they have a new coach or they have a new
Yeah.
general manager. But whoever is responsible for them getting developed is rewarded with the draft picks. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But still, I still want to have. I want to say this though. The Rooney Rule has not worked
yeah, it's
because of these stats. It's three black head coaches and one Hispanic, if you include
Ron
Ryan
Rivera.
Ron, Ron Rivera. So
Uh-huh.
Mike Tomlin, Brian Ferrell, and Anthony Lynn are your three
Mm-hmm.
black coaches. In the past 3 years, has been 19 head coaching job openings, and only two black coaches have gotten jobs out of those 19.
Right.
There's no black owners in the league, and over since 2013, it's been 8 black coaches hired since then. So this rule has to work because at the end of the day, the Rooney Rule has not worked because most teams will interview a black candidate or a
Right.
minority candidate just to appease that rule so they won't get in trouble.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they know who they want to hire anyway.
Right.
So it does not help. So something has to be done because just as an example, that coach from Kansas City is one of the great offensive minds. He developed plays in Kansas City that you don't even think of.
Okay.
So, and I'm hearing Houston may be on the radar for him,
Yeah.
which would be perfect for Deshaun Watson.
Right. By the way, Tony's chimed in. Thanks for the help. It's Eric Benamy, who is the offensive
Okay,
coordinator for the Chiefs.
thank you, Tony. Appreciate
That,
it. But I think Eric Benemy should be in Houston next year
right.
because Watson wants him obviously, and you got to think Patrick Mahomes is rooting for him to go there, and he didn't even get an interview last year
Yeah.
after winning the
Of
Super Bowl.
all, was it 5 head coaching positions from last year, and 0 went to minority candidates. So
Yeah,
this rule, I guess, is to try to improve upon the Rudy rule, which, like you said, it has some flaws. This one, I like what they're trying to do. I don't know how. I don't know. I guess my question is I don't know how effective it's going to be. So
I
we'll
mean,
have to wait and time will reveal
I
how well
don't
it
think
works.
it's gonna be that
Yeah,
effective. Honestly,
yeah,
I just feel like owners they want the coaches they want regardless.
right,
So it's like this. Okay, if it's a college coach that like Nick Saban,
right.
if Nick Saban said I want to coach an NFL team tomorrow, do you know how many owners are going to be lining up
Instantly.
instantly to hire Nick Saban
Yeah,
over a guy that's been in my yard? Nick Saban was an NFL coach before,
right.
and he didn't do so well in the NFL.
Right.
That's why he won't go back to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Sparrow was the same one. Steve Sparrow was a horrible
Yeah,
NFL coach, great college coach.
yeah.
But again, it goes back to the point where if he said that tomorrow, they will line up knocking his door down to hire him right now. But like somebody like Eric, who said I want to be a head coach, it won't happen.
Yeah. Well, my issue, I guess, with it's the degree of separation from reward. So the Chiefs hiring Eric Bieniemy for the first part wouldn't have gotten them anything. They have to hire him and then hope someone else hires him later. And so it's that long path you have to take before you get your reward. It makes
That,
it kind
that,
of
that does. I
well.
mean,
We'll
that
see.
doesn't work.
Tony says he doesn't like the rule either. Um, all I can say is there's definitely a problem
Yeah.
that's in there. So I guess I think the real solution is for the owners to change their mentality of who they look for. Because for some reason that no one on earth can explain to me, Adam Gates is still employed, and
Oh
it's
my
like,
God.
how does he have a job at all? So, but he'll be a guy, and you've seen coaches like him who just bounce from team to team. Okay, you failed here, but we're gonna try you here. All right, you failed there too. We're gonna try you here. Uh, Another prime example, we saw Wade Phillips. How many places that he
Oh my
bounced around?
gosh.
He's a great coordinator. Don't get me wrong, but
But
as
he's
a
a
head
horrible
coach,
coach.
how many places have we seen him be awful? And those guys get opportunity after opportunity, and it's the owners, and that's
Yeah.
that's that's where the mentality change has to come from. So I think this is supposed to uh, try to give the owners some incentive. I just think it's too far down as far as to get your reward. You have to do it. It's supposed to help encourage you to develop people. So we'll see.
And I'm
We'll
I'm gonna
see.
say this, and I'm gonna tell you, Anthony Lynn is probably gonna lose his job this year.
I would not be surprised if he did.
And I'm gonna tell you why, because what they're gonna say is we have this young quarterback
Yeah,
in Justin Herbert. We need to get a quarterback minded.
guy.
Well, we need to get a
Mm-hmm.
coach with a quarterback mind in here, and we're gonna pull him from the college ranks because I think he can work with Justin
Yeah,
Herbert. And that's the thing they're gonna do when it ain't even like the thing is Miami Anthony Lynn. I'm sorry, Anthony Lynn is
mm-hmm.
not a bad coach.
Yeah,
It's just right now, Justin Herbert is a rookie who does not know how to win big games, but he know how to play well in the big
yeah.
games. He has to learn how to win those big games. And the thing is, I don't think it's fair. Mike Tomlin is the only minority coach that has had the same
Yeah,
job for the last 10 years.
yeah.
I, it's
And
crazy to
and
me.
what's that? The mentality. How often do they change coaches in Pittsburgh?
Not
They
much.
they they take a guy and they will work it, and because they have faith in who they drafted, and that's I said that's the only real fix is have owners with the kind of mentality.
Yeah.
So Tony, just going to a few comments. As we pointed out before, there's no black owners, and so we
Yes,
have to
yeah.
change the mentality there. We did get some clarification on the story from Nita. It's actually
Okay.
funny now that I still haven't heard this from Shannon Sharp, but he called Tom Brady Tom Jameis Winston Brady because of all the interceptions he threw. Because yeah, he looked very Jameis Winston like
Yeah.
with all the interceptions. I get it now. So
He
yeah,
threw a bunch of those too,
yeah,
I'll
whole
tell you.
bunch, whole bunch.
So I mean, that's my take on it,
Yeah.
honestly.
So yeah, I'm like I don't dislike the rule, but I'm just not very convinced that it's gonna make a big difference. But
No, I
until you
don't need
change the mentality of the owners, I don't think you can come up with a rule that's gonna work to solve the problem.
Well, the thing is with no black owners, they don't.
Yeah.
The thing is, you gotta want them in the room,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So you gotta want those owners to be in because they were trying to. I don't know if you remember when the Carolina Panthers was up for sale, and they were trying to buy it
Right.
in a group of, but I guess it never panned out because
Yeah.
somebody else came in and brought it. But I also read that they was gonna bring the Oakland team back.
Right.
And it was gonna be black owners with the Oakland team, but I don't know how
Yeah.
far that went.
Yeah.
So, um, but I just feel like they have to change it because they say the NFL is 70% black
Right.
athletes. Now, put your mind, just think about this: if 70% of the league just said we're not going to play, where does the league go from? Where do
Never
they go
gonna
from?
happen. But yeah, I see your point. Never gonna happen.
It's never going to happen. But I'm
Because
just saying,
Jerry Jones was like, "Hey, if any of my players take a
which is
knee,
insane to
then
me,
they're
man.
gonna get fired." And how many people took a knee?
See, but
Zero.
see,
Exactly.
the the
So
the,
it's
the wrong
yeah,
ones took a knee. The right ones didn't.
yeah,
The thing about it is, if a Zeke took a knee or a
not gonna
Dak,
happen.
what is he gonna
Right.
do? You gonna cut them?
Right.
Is if a Cooper took a
Nope.
knee, is you
Uh huh.
cutting him? No.
Yes, and that's gonna be no one challenges the authority, and I don't. Hey, call me a pessimist, but
Yeah,
I don't see that changing.
yeah.
So
I mean, we'll see, but I just think I don't know if the rule gonna work. I don't
yeah,
know.
we'll
It's
find
just
out.
it's like my grandma would say,
Right.
they throwing spit on the wall to see if it stick. They just throwing stuff on the wall to
Let's
see if
see
it
if it
stick.
sticks. Exactly.
Uh, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see. Um,
we'll see.
did we want to
You got.
say anything more about Lamar Jackson?
Let's go.
In the news, talking about he was on the Rich Eisen show saying that defenses are calling out the Baltimore's plays at the line, and they already know everything they're gonna do. And I'll let you take it.
I've been saying this the whole year.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Jackson. I love me some Lamar Jackson. Don't get me wrong,
Uh huh.
but Lamar Jackson is a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson cannot throw the football. I don't care who they got out there.
Well,
And the
I
problem,
disagree. He will throw it, but where will he throw it every
Mark
time?
Andrews, and he don't even throw him the
Right.
ball no more. So
Right.
that's the problem. Like they know
They know
if
exactly where the ball's
he
going.
the problem with Lamar Jackson is
Uh,
he's a one read quarterback.
yeah.
He drops back, he doesn't see Mark Andrews, and the first thing he do, the second thing his thought is to run the ball. Is never to sit in the pocket and just to scan the field to
Right.
see
That's
if
something that he has
anybody's
to
up.
still develop. Yeah, he's not there yet.
He does. And the thing
Yeah.
is, he can win off his legs, but we all seen what happened to RG3.
Yeah.
We seen what happened. One hit can take him, and he don't slide. First of all,
Yeah.
he don't even believe in sliding. He goes head first instead of sliding. So, and then like you said, he does not throw
Yeah.
over 300 yards.
Yeah.
He gets a combined 300 yards from rushing and passing, but no big time receiver is gonna go to Baltimore and say I want to play there.
What you talking about? They just signed Des Bryant and
Really?
had
Stop
to
it.
put him and they put him right back with the practice squad after last week. So
Thank you.
we'll see
And
whether he gets
Hollywood,
called back up again. But
he's
yeah,
wasting Hollywood Brown's
right.
talent right now.
It was Jesse Bates who plays for the Bengals, and he said it a while. I can't remember exactly, but earlier this season, he's like, "Look, he only throws to number 15 and number 89. That's Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. So you already know. In fact, of the 216 attempts that Lamar Jackson's had this year, 93 of them went to those two receivers. That's almost half of his attempts to
That's it.
two guys. That's not going to get it done. So
And he has to. And the thing is, he has to kind of
yeah,
open up. He got to come to a realization that look, man, I need to go through all my progressions.
yeah,
First receiver, second receiver, third receiver, tight end. However you want to go in your order,
yeah.
you need to go in the order to
But he's
scan the
got to
field.
learn to scan the field exactly.
You,
And
you
I'm not going to
cannot
hold
win
a
like
lot
that.
against him. It's his second year, but by now he needs to be showing you some of that. But right now he's been the problem, and as nice as he's been for fantasy owners last year,
He's
it
been
ain't
very
working
bad
that
this
way
year.
this year, right?
I mean, but Kyler Murray last year as a
Mm-hmm.
rookie scanned the
Yeah,
field. As a runner, he's still a runner, but
you're
he
right.
scanned the field. Russell Wilson scans the
Yeah,
field, but he can run the ball. The thing is, Lamar Jackson is more of a runner first,
yeah,
then a passer quarterback. He's not a passing running quarterback. It's a
right.
whole difference.
The question is, do you see him this year? Not so much. Do you going in next year when it's time to draft quarterbacks? Lamar Jackson was the number 2 quarterback taken off boards. I don't think he's going to go off boards that soon this year.
Mm-mm.
But do you think he adds that next year when you're doing your
It-
fantasy drafts?
I'm not taking him,
Okay.
but I in order for me, I think he slides. I think he it's a lot of quarterbacks that's gonna slide
Yeah.
past him. Tua is one. Uh, Justin Herbert is another one.
Justin Herbert, definitely.
Um, Josh Allen already passed him, but Josh Allen is gonna pass him definitely this year. Um, it's a ton of quarterbacks
Yeah.
that's definitely gonna pass him. He made, especially in our league. I'm gonna just use the
Like a
barbershop
gridiron
for an example.
barbershop that's very quarterback heavy.
It's quarterback heavy.
Yeah.
So basically, 2 quarterbacks go first 2 rounds. The first 20 picks are quarterbacks. I don't think he's in that first 20, honestly.
I disagree with that. I don't think he's
I
going to fall that far. I
I'm
don't think.
telling you,
I think he probably slides to the back of it because he's still going to give you those legs. So I think
I'm
he's
telling
going to
I'm,
slide to the back of the first
mm,
round
mm,
in that
mm.
one. I say okay. There's 32 quarterbacks. For you to say that, you say he's going to be out of the top 20
You
quarterbacks.
got
I don't
you
think
got
he's out of. I think he's
okay.
potentially out of the top 10, and I don't even know if he falls that far. I think he's
Okay, so think about it this way:
okay.
Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, Justin Herbert. I mean,
How did
we
you
can
skip
go.
Russell Wilson? Stop, get the hate out your
I mean,
heart,
I'm
man.
just no.
Russell.
It's not no.
No,
I ain't
it's
going
not
to.
in order. It's not in order.
It's
I'm just saying
not in order.
you supposed
But
to have
I'm
said
just
Russell
saying,
Wilson's name already.
Russell Wilson,
Yeah,
um, Jared Goff. Jared Goff does throw the ball,
yeah.
gets the
I don't
ball
think he
out.
falls below Jared Goff.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I mean, Deshaun Watson.
he's definitely
I mean,
behind Deshaun. Yeah,
Matt Ryan is another one.
right. Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
like I said, out of the top 10, I can see. Out of the top 20, though, because
that was
you're
just
gonna
it.
start
That's
you're gonna start running out of names pretty soon.
Matthew Stafford. I mean, I could go on. These are quarterbacks that
Right.
actually
Yeah,
throw
throw
the
the
ball.
ball.
Tom Brady is another one who's going to be there even at 40, 49 years old. I mean, just think about this now. That is 15, maybe 15 quarterbacks I can probably name. It ain't even really went
Right.
through the list like that. So
Okay.
I'm just saying,
Like I
you
said,
can
out of the
afford.
first round, out of the top 10, because I don't want to leave it there because the people that playing different. That's one type of league where it would be out of the
Yes,
first round. But out of the top 10 quarterbacks, definitely I can see him falling
but
to the.
I
But
named
I'm just saying,
12.
top 20.
I don't know about
We'll
that,
have
man.
to
Like,
we'll have to do
did
that. We'll have to
are
go
you
through
take
some lists
are
and
you
see.
taking Derek Carr? Are you taking him over
Hey,
Derek Carr?
you talk about my heart rate there.
I'm just saying. I'm asking you.
I
Are
would
you
take.
taking
I would have
Derek Carr?
taken. See, I would have taken Derek Carr above him this year.
Are you,
True story. So
okay? You know who's having a better season than him? Teddy
Derek Carr.
Bridgewater.
Oh, Teddy
Derek
Bridgewater.
Carr.
Right.
Teddy
Now that's
Bridgewater.
an interesting one. Would I take Teddy Bridgewater over him? Because I would not have taken Teddy Bridgewater over Lamar Jackson this year.
I'm
Next year I
taking.
might consider it. Because hey,
I'm
Teddy
taking.
Teddy had a nice has been having a nice season.
I'm taking
Better
Teddy
than I
Bridgewater.
thought Teddy Bridgewater would be. I'm not gonna lie
That's what
to
I'm
you.
saying. Teddy Bridgewater has better numbers than him this year. I mean, we're not looking up the numbers now, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely sure. I'm sure we can find the numbers and look them up.
Yeah.
His numbers are better than Lamar Jackson's this year.
Depending on
I'm
which
telling
numbers you're talking about.
you, huh?
Depending on which numbers you're talking about. You
I'm
talk
talking about
about
passing
fantasy over.
numbers.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's just
Passing numbers. Put it like this. I think, okay, in the snake draft, just say if you got number 1 pick, that first 10, I think he's out of that 10.
Yeah, I
Even on
agree.
the come, you have to really love Lamar Jackson on the come around because he could fall from that at that at he could be a number one pick second quarterback
Right.
because other people will look at other pat, especially in our league, and you got to throw over 300 yards to get a bonus and get points and all that stuff. He's falling.
Yeah. He's not. If your league is dependent on yards, then no, you don't want Lamar Jackson for
In the
that.
barbershop, he's falling.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right
Oh
now.
yeah, in that league, I agree. He's definitely falling. Still not out of the top 20. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Still not out of the top 20.
he might not make my top 20 next year.
Okay. Well, true story. You didn't really have him that high on your list this year because
Nope.
basically Lamar Jackson is doing exactly what we thought he would do this year. We said he's going to fall back a lot from last year. So
I didn't know it was gonna be this bad though.
yeah,
I didn't know. I mean, honestly, like you gave me a glaring stat. He only threw for 200 yards three
three
times
times this year.
I mean, do you have any times Matt Ryan that threw over 300 yards this year?
Well, since I have Matt Ryan on my league, not enough. But that's just me.
Aaron Rodgers has threw for over 300 yards. God knows what 4 or 5 times.
Right.
I mean, it's he fall even though those guys are older, he falls behind those guys. I mean,
hold up a sec. We got a question from Jay. We're gonna come back to some more Lamar Jackson
okay.
bashing because I actually had to look it up. He's not doing well. He's actually positionally ranked 19, and he's still in the top 20. But let's get to James Martin's question. He needs to drop somebody. Cooper, AB, Crowder, or Fulgham. I say Antonio Brown. There you
Antonio
go.
Brown.
I'm not even. No.
I'm not dropping Cooper Kupp.
I'm assuming that's Amari Cooper. That's a good question. I don't know whether he means Cooper Kupp or Amari Cooper. I was thinking it was Amari Cooper. Because you definitely don't drop Cooper Kupp, but I don't drop either one of them.
Yeah, I'm dropping AB.
I actually love Crowder when he's healthy. Fulgham has shown he belongs in the top tier. Antonio Brown does not belong there. I don't think that's going to. Well, I'm an Antonio Brown hater, so definitely know that going in.
Let me take this one.
But I just don't think Antonio Brown, he's not the wide receiver Chris Godwin or Mike Evans are. So
Fulgham is the number one receiver in Philly. No question about it. I like Jalen Reagor, but Jalen Reagor is the number 2. Fulgham is bigger, he's stronger, he's better than Jalen Reagor right now. So he's the number 1. Cooper is still the number 1.
And he texts back. It is Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper is still the number 1. They just have quarterback issues.
They have a lot of bad quarterback issues. But he wasn't great, but Garrett wasn't awful.
Garrett played pretty well.
He was decent for his first start.
I think he's going to start when he come back, too.
Yeah.
I just have a really feeling about that. But AB is starting late, first of all. He's probably not in NFL game shape like that. So, and then it's too many mouths to feed. So he would be the one that I would get out. And Crowder is the only thing the Jets got.
Hey, Perriman looked good this past week.
With
Joe Flacco, of all quarterbacks, throwing to him. Didn't Joe Flacco have like 300 yards? He threw a crucial interception. By the way, I had picked the Jets to win. I told everybody if Crowder plays, pick the Jets to beat the Patriots. And I was like one Joe Flacco interception away from looking like a genius.
Yeah, but I think
Crowder you keep. He's a monster.
You keep Crowder, yeah. He's going to get his. He gets targets. He gets 10, 15 targets a game. So you got to keep him. AB is the one.
AB
I would drop
is
him,
droppable. Definitely.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Thanks for the question, James. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
you joining us. So, all right. Did we do it all?
That's all I got, man. That's all we got.
All right.
We did it all.
All right. Well, Nick, hey, we'll be back this Saturday. Join us for the 40-second play clock where we talk about we pick every game. Rodney's going to try to catch up with me, but I'm going to increase that lead in picking games. We're going to tell you all the players you need to have in your lineups. RJFantasyFootballTalk.com, Instagram, Facebook. Like, subscribe on YouTube.
Hey, we ain't going nowhere.
That's the truth.
So, I'm out.
All right. See y'all. Peace.